Hello, welcome to our Wednesday devotional. I have a question for you. What are you thinking about today? What's on your mind? Last night before you went to bed, what was the last thought you had? What were you thinking about? When you got up this morning, hit the alarm, maybe hit the snooze alarm, maybe hit it twice. What were you thinking about? I recently read from Psalm 77 again, what the psalmist wrote that we should take to heart. Psalm 77 verse 12, the psalmist said, I will meditate also of all thy works and talk of all thy doings. Two things. The first is meditate. Meditate is what you think about, what you ponder, what, when you're driving down the road, is in the back of your mind while you're also watching the traffic and watching the road conditions. What is it that you meditate on? The psalmist said, I will meditate also of thy works. Do you think about his works? Last weekend, we had the snow, big snow. A lot of snow. Do you ever meditate on the fact that God did that? Oh, I don't mean get mad at him because he did it. Be thankful. It was beautiful. It was work getting out. It closed our school a couple days. It caused us to miss a Sunday night service. But that's part of God's work. He made every snowflake. Isn't that amazing? Do you ever take time to just meditate on his work? His creation? The more I think about him and the more I think about his creation, I'm amazed. The more I learn about the animal kingdom, I'm amazed. The more I learn about people and sickness and health, I'm amazed. The psalmist said, I will meditate, I will think about his works. Do we think about that? I'd encourage that today. Second thing, in the same verse, he said, not only would I meditate of all thy works, I will talk of all thy doings. Not just what he's done, his works, but what he's doing right now. What is he doing in your life? What is he doing in my life? I think of all the times he's protected me. I know on Monday I went out to shovel snow, and I told my wife that a couple of our people in church, or actually several, had approached me and said, "Now, Pastor," and they didn't say because you're old, but I knew what they were thinking. They said, you better be careful shoveling snow. One dear lady said, Pastor, you shouldn't shovel any snow. Just have someone come and get it. Isn't there somebody in your neighborhood that can come and do that for you? Well, as it turned out, on Monday, I went out about mid-morning and was ready to shovel my snow, and I'd gotten my equipment out and gotten dressed warmly. And my new neighbor, whom I just met, says, hey, wait a minute. You don't need to shovel your snow. I'll take care of that for you. I said, oh, no, I can do this. This is not that big of a driveway. I'll take care of it. Oh, no, don't you dare do it. As soon as we finish my driveway and this other driveway, we'll finish yours. Don't you? Just go on in. Well, I was grateful and I didn't want to be offensive to my new neighbor, so I went on in. And I waited for an hour and nothing happened. I waited for 2 hours and nothing happened. Finally, after about 2.5 hours, I thought, I've got to get started on shoveling that snow. So I went out and shoveled for, a half hour or so, went back in, rested. Went back out a little later and he hadn't done anything, but I shoveled a little bit more and went in and rested. 4 different times on Monday, I went out and shoveled my snow and got it all done, and he never showed up. Well, I was thinking about what he was doing, what I was doing, and it caused me to reflect upon what God does. God allowed me, at somewhat advanced age, to be able to shovel that snow. I was able. Now, I was breathing heavy after I'd lifted some of that snow, but I didn't overdo it, and I was able. Think of what God's doing, what he does every day, how he protects us, even when we shovel snow. The psalmist said, I will meditate also of all thy works, and I will talk of all thy doings. So today I'm going to talk about the Lord and what he's been doing in our lives, in our church, and I hope in your life. Make that your verse for today. I will meditate also on all thy works and talk of all thy doings. Psalm 77, verse 12. Have a good day.